I'm Leigh Brown. This is Crazy Shit in Real Estate. And today I've got some Georgia fun for you, a conversation with Shannon Watkins and her associate James. We're going to talk about a lot of things. So just, enjoy the typical crazy conversation where I don't even know where it ends until you do. So make sure you tune in. I'll see you on the other side. Sorry, I'm a couple of minutes behind. I was finishing my other episode, but I'm so grateful to have y'all with me today.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, great.
So why don't you start by telling my audience who you are, where you're located, what you do in and around real estate. Give them a little bit of a thumbnail sketch.
James, you go first. Men first in this group.
All right.
Outnumbered.
My name's James Clark, the Atlanta, Georgia area, actually south of Atlanta, Stockbridge. That's where we're at. So service all over. But I've been in the industry. When am I in? I'm starting my third full year in the industry. So kind of semi-retired from insurance. But I've known Shannon for quite a while, and interviewed with her and decided to come on board. Didn't interview with anybody else. She was the
Okay.
one. So,
One
so
and done.
she was the one. Yep. So
So we can.
Was she the realtor when you bought a house?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
No, we can judge if he's smart or not later.
Yeah.
But
Actually, when I joined, she had a piece of land listed for me, and so when I came on board, she just let me be the seller of it. So that was kind of my first deal.
So you did come in as a client then.
Right.
we actually met at church. His daughter was in my college ministry at the church. So that's the initial connection, I think, was way back then.
Okay, so now did daughter say, Dad, you need to get into real estate? You got to talk to Shannon, or were you already thinking about real estate? How did that?
I was already thinking about it. Yeah, she was, I guess, halfway out the nest when I decided to do this. So no, actually, she was married already when I jumped on it. Yeah, she got married the same year. So
still halfway out, but that's your baby girl. So we know she's hard. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yes. And I guess I'll go. So I've been in the business for 23 years and survived the crash, but went into investing and thought I was flipping houses. 2008 happened, and then I became a landlord because I couldn't flip those houses. So started with that, and then the market started picking back up. Accidentally started a team 2012, and then 2021 we opened our own brokerage. Now we have an investment fund within our brokerage and property management and a staging company, and we're open in Tennessee. We're opening in Savannah, and I think my name is still Shannon, but sometimes I can't remember because that's the life that I'm living these days.
I mean, you went accidentally, and then boom, boom, boom. So has everything in life just kind of been here's an opportunity, let's go try it? Is that your life?
Yes, I haven't learned the word no yet. And if someone presents something, I'm like, sure. What's the worst that's going to happen? It's going to fail? Okay.
I mean, honestly, that's the best thing. If people should absorb that from this, if nothing else. What's the worst that could happen? You fail and keep going. I mean...
I'm not afraid of failure at all.
So you mentioned that your brokerage has its own investment fund. We're just going to have to go right to that because that's fascinating. And I don't know that I've heard of this before. So talk to me about what are you doing? That's so interesting.
So, and James can probably explain more, but we kind of wanted to start flipping and there was just a few of us. So we were like, well, let's come together. And then we were like, hey, I think we can get money from our agents, like instead of like hard money or taking out traditional loans. And so basically, long story short, we decided we would do in-house crowdfunding. So if they're here in our brokerage, they have the opportunity to invest in our projects. And we have two paths that they can take, either a guaranteed return, and they go on the property as a lien holder. So it's all in the up and up, we're not just taking their cash and going to Starbucks. Then we also offer them the path of where they can be a partner in the project, but then you're also going to, take on all liability and risk and everything with us if you go the partner route. And it requires a higher investment amount. So that's the short version of it. And we're on our 7th, I think.
No, fifth.
Well, and then I have so
Oh
not
yeah, she's
everybody's
got
involved. Yeah,
yeah.
not everyone's involved in all of them. So it's kind of like if James brings a project and I don't want to do it, he might do it with some others in the office and things like that. And it's been the name of your podcast. It's been
Right.
a show.
So, okay, so if you're on number 5 or 7, depending on which pathway we're
Yep.
on, how many did you do before you kind of figured out how to do it the right way? 2 or 3?
Oh,
I think
we
we're
still don't
figuring
know.
out.
Okay, well, there's no way the first one was smooth as silk, because if it did, that was an accident. It would totally trick you into thinking you had everything figured out. But what's
Yeah.
been the biggest sticky wicket in doing that? Is it trust? Has there been a trust issue? Is it overrun
Contractors.
cost, or contractors? Well, that's every day.
Yeah. We have not had we haven't really had a trust factor issue. Even we had someone bring like a large amount to one of our last investments, and it was a guaranteed. She gave us 30 grand guaranteed. Well, that project is still on the market. Like, so not good. But since it's been a year, I personally will guarantee, because it's my name on the building ultimately, like for Watkins. So for me, it's like I'm going to personally guarantee that money. And I think people see that. So I don't think we have a trust issue at all. It solely rests on not budgeting correctly because of contractors, because they're the ones giving us those prices. And then just also, they're all criminals. Literally.
Yeah.
Shannon, your face got really you said they're all criminals. I think what you meant to say is there are many unscrupulous people in the contractor business, and you would love to find a very scrupulous, honest one. Is that what you were saying?
That's it. I
think
need
that's what I was
Botox.
hearing. You're looking for the unicorn. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get Botox so my face isn't so animated.
No, you don't, because that shit's crazy. That's like formaldehyde or something. And is that what happened to Gene Hackman's wife when they said she was partially mummified when they found her? Was it Botox? Because they have not explained that yet. And
I know.
I spent too much time on the internet trying to understand mummification, and I can't get that time back, but I also can't turn my eyes away from that story because something ain't right there. And
Definitely not.
sorry, we're recording this March 7th, 2025. If you happen to watch this later in the time capsule, just go back and Google Gene Hackman and the wife and the dog, and it's really, the media is not talking about it very much. So now I wonder if they're in the Epstein files. I just don't know what's going on right now.
Yeah.
It's too much to absorb. So anyway, all contractors are criminals is where that started. I took us to mummification. So let's go back to brokerage. So, Shannon, how did you get started in investing in real estate? Was it because of the flips that you wound up being a landlord on to buy time treading water in the recession that you learned it by accident? And do you still do regular retail buyers and sellers as well?
Yes. So, yes, that's how I got started in the investing back in 2006. You know, when you could just walk in, if you could fog a mirror, you could buy a house. So
No
that's what I
doubt.
was buying.
Stated
It was
income.
great. What
I
happened to those days?
promise. I made this much money. Oh, here's your loan. I still can't believe stated income was a thing. I just want to point that out.
It's amazing. Yeah, we don't need to go back to those days. However, I had a lot of houses back then. But and I did find my love for it back then, and it was great. And I had different partners back then, obviously. And so then market crashing, I found out, you know what, being a landlord's not that bad either, right? So for me, real estate is not just buyers and sellers. To me, real estate is one, okay, all the agents out there, how are you going to retire? Like, are you really going to open doors when you're 85 years old? Do you really want to open a real estate door and say, do you want to buy this house? You got to make plans. It's not in buying and selling. Not that we don't love our buyers and sellers, but that is just one piece, one piece. I want all of our agents investing. I want them owning real estate. I want them to understand commercial. Even if you hate commercial like I do, I need a base understanding of it. Agriculture, like we're licensed for the entire state of Georgia. We need to know the entire state of Georgia. So that's probably my passion is around that, and then bringing others into that fold. is super important. I like to grow leaders. I like to grow business owners, not agents.
James, is
James
that what
can
drew
attest.
you into this team? Because
Absolutely.
you don't get that perspective in a lot of brokerages or teams. Is that one of the things that drew you into Shannon's
Oh yeah,
here?
definitely. Yeah, and I mean, when I came on board, the training, well, she still does the training, but yeah, the training they provided, leads and everything. So it was just, I never did. I mean, I was interested in real estate, but just didn't know how to sell it and how to get those clients. So that's what she's really brought on.
So then why have you stayed? 3 years in is generally when most agents start the itch to go stick the shingle out and get the
Yeah.
keep the whole grape. So I want to know
Yeah,
why you stayed with Shannon and
me too.
what's it work.
Uh,
You
well,
have the ego scratch just a little bit.
well, I know I couldn't do it on my own out there. I mean, it'd be a whole lot tougher, but yeah, I mean, that's just fun. I mean, this is a fun career. I mean, I tell people, and some other real estate agents are like, "What?" But insurance, what I did was very stressful. This is no, I'm a lot busier, but I'm a lot less stressful.
That
And
way, stop. Well, stop. We're less stressful in real estate than insurance. I just write my premium checks to my State Farm guy every year, and he doesn't do anything for that money except money every year. That was more stressful. How?
yeah, well, I mean, what I did was I did health insurance, and also I was managing companies' health insurance and doing their open enrollments and all that. So I had like
You have to go pull
six,
blood on people? Did you have to go
just
away
about,
from them?
yeah. So 6, 7 months out of the year, it was, I mean, excuse the expression, balls to the wall, and so but coming over here, I mean, my wife, I wanted to retire. She told me, she said, no, you got to do something. I said, what? Anything. I said, okay, what about real estate? She
That's
says, I
right.
don't care. That's good. She says, I don't care. You just got to do something.
She's a very smart woman because she's in preserving the marriage for the long haul, and you have to get out the house for that to happen. I feel her on that.
So, but
That's awesome.
I think I've done well. I guess in 3 years, right around 12 million in volume. So, I surpassed, I guess, the average. I've heard you
Mhm.
talk about the average real estate agent, what they sell per
Yeah,
year. So,
yeah.
Okay, so but you have to understand, like, in the audience, we need y'all to understand something. The average doesn't even make sense in real estate because if we look at our national data and the average agent sells 8 houses, I want you to also remember this, 70%, so 70% of agents sell between 0 and 1, which means
Mhm.
the vast majority of agents sell absolutely nothing or they're barely participating. So if the average is 8, that means the top 30%, some of them
Mhm.
are, like, super duper killing it.
Mhm.
8, you can make a living on 8. It's not gonna be any kind of retirement money, but you can get there. But
Yeah,
it's
Right.
so skewed, and I think it's
yeah,
because people do come into this with unrealistic expectations. It's going to be very easy, dress up and
Mhm.
drive around, have an open house, and get paid. And it's
Mhm.
not exactly like that. So I'm very curious
Yeah.
because you come out of a sales background, James.
mhm.
And you're used to dealing with the public. So you had general public, you had sales background. For you, what was the hardest thing in the 3 years you've been in to get you successful? I mean, because you're
Mm.
becoming more successful. Obviously, you're on the upward trend. But what was the hardest thing that you didn't expect?
Honestly, the time.
Mm.
I didn't. I mean, they said Shannon was saying you're 24/7. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna be 24/7. But it's just, oh yeah, it's just the time
I said
because
25/8. She lied.
yeah,
Right.
because a lot of times, yeah, you can't get the emails,
Yeah.
so you're doing those at night, or even doing showings late and in the evenings on Saturdays, and also it's kind of, and that's where, and Shannon said, look, you got to make time for yourself, and that's the hard part. Sometimes is trying to find time for yourself or for your family. So it's
Well,
Time-consuming market for sure.
it is,
mhm,
and it's always a time-consuming market because when it's slow, you may have to prospect more to have some business, and then when it's
right.
Yep.
busy, you're like you said, you're doing emails at night, and we didn't have that 25 years ago. We didn't have
True.
nonstop emails and texts. We had pagers, and that was advanced.
Yep.
And I had my Nextel, so you go doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. Loved my Nextel.
Yeah.
But we weren't accessible all the time, and so the accessibility does mean we work more. But as a result, real estate has one of the highest divorce rates of all the professional fields because of what you mentioned there. And also because we have a hard time saying that we can be a priority too. When our
Right.
clients are in the middle of drama, it's okay for us to say, actually, I need to eat supper.
Yeah, exactly. And I always tell the agents too, like when we're onboarding or someone's coming in to interview, I love brand new agents, right? Because they're still so naive to everything. They've been sold by these brokerages. Oh, we'd love to have you come here. Well, yeah, because they're going to make
We
money
have
off you.
extra leads. You're going to make $100,000 this year.
So frustrating. So when they come to me, I'm like, you're going to work all the time. You're not going to have a life. And if your family is not on board, do not enter this industry because your family has to understand what you are going to be doing. If they do not, you'll either end up in divorce or you're going to get out of real estate.
And actually, what was the first thing you said, Miss Shannon, when I looked at your calendar behind you and you said something about those red strips? Why don't you actually say what that was?
Yeah. So most important thing is red, and that is my family time. I love it. It just says gone. I can't tell these fools where I'm going. They'll follow me. But
James is like, absolutely, we will. It's not even a joke.
So yeah, so red is that's my vacation. That's my time with my family.
And I will say that if you're in the public watching this or listening to this, we aren't saying that we don't love serving you.
100%.
What we're saying is we're not actually sleeping with you, or we shouldn't be, but we're not sleeping. We didn't give birth to you, or maybe we did, but we don't remember it. But those are my priorities: my faith life, my husband, my kids, my parents. I love my clients, but if they outrank those relationships, then I'm out of whack, and then I become a really nasty human. I'm not a good person when my priorities are out of whack. I don't know about you, but I can get pretty nasty if I haven't had fill up time with my good people.
I feel like also like, especially the younger generation, they've got this idea of this work-life balance. So Leigh, I don't know how you feel about it, but here's my little thing.
It doesn't exist.
It's fake, right? That is not real. Like work-life balance and what we teach here, it's when you are in life, do life. Like that needs to be life. When you are work, do work. And it's really hard in our industry. And so for me, you've got to make sure that you are balancing how much work you are doing. But don't mistake you getting to go to the grocery store for family dinner, picking up the groceries, and you're on the phone with an agent as only work, right? They kind of intertwined. So you've got to be able to rationalize this is work and this is life. And when I'm truly doing life, I'm ignoring work. I am not answering the phone if I am with my husband at dinner. We have family dinner every Wednesday night. All the family meets at a restaurant in Atlanta, the same restaurant. Yes, we're very boring. The people know us by name. They know my order, but we go there every Wednesday and no one will interrupt that.
Well, that's the whole thing of phone stacking. Have you seen phone stacking? Where everybody at the dinner takes their phone. I have to close my pop socket, and you make a stack of phones in the middle of the table, and the first one to reach for their phone has to pick up the phone. That is how you're having dinner with your friends, especially right now in this inflationary environment where everything's expensive. We have a hard time leaving dinner because nobody wants to touch it now. But it's powerful because if it's over here, I'm just going to glance one time, and then you're down the rabbit hole for 15 minutes. And you just wrote down phone stacking.
I sure did. My notes.
You wrote down Opus too. See, good job. But there's something powerful about that. It's the message that we give too, because you're giving the message to your family that they matter enough that they get Wednesdays, and that they matter enough that they get supper. And James, you told your wife she matters enough that you got a job to get out of the house, so that when you see her, it's exciting because you weren't in her space all day. But then in
Oh,
real
yeah.
estate, we so often say, "Well, I'll deal with my spouse later. I'll deal with my family later," and then we lose our foundations,
Mhm.
and it's not worth it. And plus, you can prospect at the grocery store, so it is
Mhm.
actually a really good time to do work life. I find people in the
Exact
grocery store every time.
Yep.
Mm.
We have
But
an
James,
agent,
I
she
heard
says
you
she just talks loud.
what?
An agent in our office, she said, "Every time I go to the grocery store, I get on a phone call and talk real estate really loud."
Oh, see, that's my girl. She'd be watching my videos because that is free marketing. But
Mhm.
also, then you don't have to talk to the crazy person because 'cause you're already on the phone. But if you like them, you can hang on a second. You can pause and talk to them. So it's pretty s pretty good strategy there.
Mhm.
I love it.
But James, it only works at the grocery store near your house where you actually know people. If you go all the way
Right.
to Buckhead, because those are fancy grocery store people,
Mhm.
they're not very friendly in there if you've ever noticed. The Whole Foods,
No, they're not.
they're not chatterboxes. At the Harris Teeter, we talk. Or the
At
food
the Aldi.
In the food line, we complain about the prices, and in the Aldi, it depends on what time of day you get there. Because to me, that's like the Big Lots of grocery stores because you never know what you're gonna find in there. It's very frustrating for a list girl like me, but my mama likes her box wine, so I go to Aldi to get the box wine because it's high
Mhm.
quality.
That's why.
You laughing, James? Because it is high quality box wine. My mother's gonna kill me for telling her secrets now. Actually, she's gonna say she buys at Trader Joe's, but here we are.
You just told the church.
I did, but, it's good. You're supposed to get confession off your heart, or as my cousin Tony says, he's a Baptist preacher, he says, "The blessing is not the time to get right with the Lord." He does not like a long blessing, he likes, "Thank you for the meat, good Lord, let's eat, amen."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's so funny. So I do a lot of used to do a lot more when I was at the church, but mission trips. And there is this one sweetheart. I love him. He'll probably watch this. He's from Honduras and he's a missionary. And when he prays, the food is cold by the time we get to eat. Like we had a whole sermon with our eyes closed, and I'm like, and I am a food girl. Like, please don't keep me from food because I really like it.
Food is our friend, it's our
Yep.
fuel. Alright, so when he watches this, we love you, Honduran missionary friend,
Yes, yes.
please give the message after food, dude, that's all we want.
There you go.
Timing of your message, that's all we ask.
And that was my pops. He was a Baptist preacher. So when he prayed, he'd be praying for people. I'm like, who is this person he's praying for? And then he has to name everybody in the room by name, all his family. And it's like Shannon said, the food's cold by the time we get ready to eat. So,
So was he the kind though that would name the ailments of everybody in the room? "Let's pray over Sister Sally over here because her knee is out."
no, he didn't. He didn't. No, he didn't. Now, if it was somebody he was like
On the
somebody
list.
at their church on the list, yeah, he'd mention their ailment, but not for the family. He did.
Well, that's
But
probably good. At my family reunions, if you prayed over the ailments, we would be there for a long time.
because the man was a praying man because literally they were in South Carolina and we lived in Georgia. So when my dad backing out of the driveway, his hand was on the door, walking and praying that we would have a safe trip home.
I love that. We need more of that in life, frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
So if you're in real estate and you're listening to this podcast or watching it and thinking, man, I need some more Leigh Brown answers in my life. Well, guess what, friends? I have a new program that is launching right now called Answers.Real Estate, where I will give you every bit of insight I have to help you grow your real estate business, help you better respond to consumers, to provide a more excellent real estate experience so that the next time you land on crazy shit in real estate, you'll have a better solution to whatever you ran into. Answers.Real Estate. There are monthly plans available. You will love it. Get your coaching. Sign up with me today. So in your
For
first
sure.
few years, James, tell me where you have been finding business. How have people come to trust you when they knew you as an insurance guy all these years? Why do they trust you with real estate in that transition?
Mm.
Because I get a
Well,
lot of fresh agents that watch and listen to the show, and so I know they're sitting over there going, well, how did he sell things? I need help.
yeah. Well, honestly, didn't do too many of insurance friends, but a lot of them just with Shannon's team of us being on a team. I tell them, I said my first client was from an open house, and he was the only one that showed up. So I tell them, I said, I don't care if if only one shows up, that's you're a client. So I've had those. We do, AOD, agent on duty. So we've got time slots. I got a lot of my first buyer consult was from AOD. And it took a little bit to find her a home, but I finally found her one. So I've had those. A lot of those call me in. Um, I don't do Zillow right now, but I did when I started. So got quite a few clients there. So it's just and then it's like with being on the team. Um, when a agent leaves, there's orphan clients. So we get those people and just stir them up and get them. So it's trying to think of who else on there, but and
Well,
helping one
also,
another. Because yeah, Shannon's had, she's so busy that she's had clients that she wanted help on, and that's where trust comes in. Because Shannon tells me, if I can't trust you, you're not working my client. But I guess she trusts me because she's given me a few to help her with,
yeah.
and also, and that's where it's a lot of just coming from is just being on the team and being there.
But also, James isn't giving himself enough credit. Like, it is really that James, he's never met a stranger and he's super genuine, right? It's so like just friendly. So when you build those relationships, you're not going to sell a house. You're going to make a friend first, right? They've got to trust you. So you just build the relationship and he does it very organically. Like it's just natural for him to be caring and like people. So it just he naturally forms trusting relationships right away. And the nurture, like he will stay in touch where most agents, takes a client talks to 25 people before they get one because most agents don't follow up.
Well, and you both are talking about trust here, and there's also a dynamic that is very seldom talked about or understood, and that is you as a team leader have spent all these years with people that you probably remember the house and not the person because for whatever reason that happens in real estate, we could tell you everything about the house, barely remember their name, but man, they know you had their best interest in mind. They call you,
Mhm.
and then you don't have the bandwidth at that time to get their needs serviced properly. So you call
Yep.
in James. So you're actively trusting James to take care of people who trusted you enough. So there's that transfer of
Mhm.
trust.
Yep.
Public sometimes feels like they got handed off because we forget to explain, I'm only handing you to this person because I trust that he will take care of your best interest. So maybe we have to be more explicit in that because it's such an honor when they call us. And
Right.
and they call us because we have survived and
Mhm.
we've been visible, but
Yep.
do have family night on Wednesday night. If that's the only night they can get together, then
Mhm.
you need a James so that they
Mhm.
get what they want. It's not even about you.
Right. And I think it is one of the things that I think I don't compliment myself often, but it is the one thing that I do well. And I did it out of necessity, right? Like, because I did have so many people. And when I told you I accidentally started a team, I literally hired a friend at the church. We sat in the church together. I was like, okay, you call these people, you book me appointments, I'm going to pay you. I don't know how, but I'm going to pay you. And now she's still with me, since 2012. And it was one of those things where I was like, get your license because I have 17 buyers. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. There's not that many days in a week last I checked. Like, I need help. And when I would talk to the clients, I was still engaged. So, like, one thing that James didn't say is like, when I pass a client, I put us in a group text. And then that way they know that communication stays in that group text. They never hear from me. I'm never like saying anything, and if, in fact, James would be like, hey, do you want to go read that text? And I'm like, oh, okay, let me look real quick. Right. You better tell me if I need to interject something. But that way they still feel me there in the present, but they also know that it's since they trust me, if I'm trusting James, they know they can trust James. So I think it's just in how we communicate it to our clients. And then we can't, I don't believe that I can just be like, peace, go talk to James, have fun. Like I don't want that for my clients.
Well, I do have some. I've done that too, but it's because it's best for all of us. If they do,
Yeah.
gotta go talk to somebody else, and it's a not a good fit sometimes, because you have to know proper fit, and sometimes the fit.
Uh,
So yeah.
for sure. And there's ways to pass those too. My favorite was my divorce situation. I had sold this guy and his wife, and they will definitely listen to this.
Hey friends, hey, what's up?
So I'd helped them 4 separate times between buying and selling.
Wow.
So when they get a divorce, they both call me. They're just in 2 separate rooms in the house, and they were like, "I hate him. I hate her. Okay, what are we doing?" And so it was really sad, but it's now entertainment for all of us, but even for them. So so they were arguing. I'm like, "Okay, well, this is what we're not going to do. We're not going to do this. We're not going to argue. Let's figure it out." And so now both of them have used us to help them buy their homes. They both come to our events and our functions. It's so weird. But sitting at the closing table, he was like, "You're going to give me my cell phone back before I sign these papers." She picks that phone up, and I'm sitting in between them, and she throws the phone. And I'm like, "All right, no, 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 let's not do that again. You stop demanding stuff, sign the papers, you act right." I felt like I was a mother of 2 adults, much older than me. It was fun. But I love that my clients love us so much that they're willing to put me in between them when they fight.
That's true. They're willing to throw a cell phone across you. That doesn't happen in every professional career. I mean, only in real estate, but I guess maybe in insurance, since that was more stressful, James.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not buying your story about insurance being more stressful than real estate. We're
Me
gonna
either.
get you some better clients so that you can experience the stress level that can come along with certain scenarios in real estate.
James is getting the stress in the flipping because he's now a
Oh,
project
yeah.
manager for that. So,
For the group investment for the kitty.
Yeah.
yeah. So the properties he handles a lot
That
of
is a
it.
little stressful.
And James, you the criminal? She said you're the project manager. You said they're all criminals. Is she talking about?
No, not me. She's a contractor. And did have one that we found out was because
Oh,
he
like,
disappeared on us. No, literally, he disappeared on us.
and he was in jail.
And his son called me finally, and he goes, "Well, he was on probation and he missed his last retribution payment,
Hmm.
and they arrested him. And when you, what do you call it? When you get arrested for violating your probation, you don't get out. And so, but
So we haven't.
and we
He was
and
down
so
with his last payment. He didn't make the last payment and went back to jail over that.
yeah.
Well, that is terrible management.
We kind of Googled or what we do, forewarn or something.
Yeah.
Found out, yeah,
That's
it was
forewarned.
several years or about 3 years ago. He had a assault, I think drug use or substance abuse. It didn't say what. Said substance trespassing. Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess he must have beat somebody up or something.
But the best part about all this is the house
Oh, yeah.
that we got that he was working on. James finds us some winners.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the house that he was working on, come to find out, the mother called me. She said, "I'm a power attorney for my son," and I was like, "Okay, what? Well, he's in the hospital. He's pretty bad off in intensive care." Well, we found out he was in the hospital because he had a wreck from running from the police because he had stolen some jewelry. So I'm like, "Oh my gosh, where do we find these people?"
I would say it's Georgia, but it's Georgia, so
it probably is.
but she didn't lie. I mean, he did have a wreck.
Right. So I always
Yeah.
wondered why you got power of attorney over your son, and so I don't. I
don't
think
know
he's
if
sitting in jail too.
I'm attorney over my parents, but now I'm going to have to ask them if they've had any wrecks for running from the law for substance abuse and whatever all else. But honestly, it's truly a sales technique that more salesmen need to lean into, which is you ask a question and you get an answer. You ask another question and another question. And when I was taught 25 years ago, the late great Howard Brenton was one of the best sales trainers we ever had in real estate. And Howard Brenton always said, you go 3 deep. Because with that scenario, if you ask her, where's your boy at? Well, he had a wreck. That did not answer your question. Oh, well, do tell. Oh, well, he was speeding. Oh, well, do tell. He was running from the law. You're like, all right, it all makes sense now because it's a different outcome based on the full information. which goes back to your friend Shannon. They call, I hate him. Oh, do tell. Oh, well, this went on. Oh, my. What we going to do next? We're going to have to sell the house. How many lawyers we got? All right. Because to serve that client, you have to know, are we mediation? Are we collaborative? Or are we in different courtrooms with cell phones flying across the closing time? I mean, so there's your sales reminder, y'all, if you're encountering the substance abuse and the running from the law and the wrecks and the probation violations. And you guys need a better background check on your builders.
You think?
Yeah.
One of my good friends is a home builder in the Atlanta area. And
send them to us.
Oh, he's fantastic. Do you know New River Builders, Austin Linebury? He's amazing. The stuff he builds is like super high end, fancy, gorgeous, detail. Like, I wish I could afford it. I can't afford his stuff. It's gorgeous. But he's been partnering with me in Western North Carolina as we do repairs on single wides and modulars and everything else. And so he's like just got a builder brain. But anyway, we were trying to get his North Carolina general contractor licensure so he can do the building work up here. And it is a whole kit and caboodle of requirements. And he's like, I've got years in Georgia. I've got all of the financials. I've got no negative anything. And still North Carolina looks at Georgia and they're like, but you're Georgia. And so it's just making me think that maybe it's a statewide thing.
Maybe good guy one is onto something.
You need to look up his building, because if you watch him on Instagram, you're going to start having house envy and house drool, which I think is an attractive look. So just hold your napkin near.
Yeah. I definitely need. Now, our projects are more like what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's the aspirational build, and you do enough flips, you can buy one of the New River houses.
Yes. If we sell 15 flips, we can afford one of his houses.
Oh, well, maybe that becomes the new goal board in the office. And then also you can all move in together and have a reality show.
Yeah, there we go.
You never say no.
Never say no. Let's do it.
And James, your wife is going to put the kibosh on that one, just for the record.
Probably not. She goes with what I go with.
She'll manage the house. She can be in charge of the Shannon's investment club moves into a New River houses.
Now we just got to get the builder involved. I'm going to call him up and be like, hey, Leigh Brown signed you up for this.
Do you want his cell phone number? I'm going to tell him he's being mentioned in this episode. And he's going to say, what are you doing?
That's going to be great. I can't wait to call him and tell him what
he loves his realtor community, though. He's one of those builders that values the relationship that realtors bring to the table. And we all know that is actually rare, because some builders don't want the agent anywhere nearby because some agents don't really add value. But some of us are very good with the trust factor, which helps the buyer work through the process when there's a sub on site who left their Mountain Dew bottle in the yard full of cigarette butts, and now the buyer's mad that there was trash in the construction site, which is always my favorite complaint of buyers, that subs trash on the construction site.
Yeah. I like that buyers are upset about their house that's not even their house, that they haven't actually done anything. But
maybe don't get mad at the dude who's out there putting the roof on. Maybe we'd be nice to him.
Right. Yeah, and we have so many different builders, and I know it's like this in every state, but it is amazing to me how vastly different they are. And what I love is, remember when builders, it was so good that builders were like, we're paying 0% compensation to buyer's agents. So
you don't need.
Yes. So those builders, I think there's only one still left in our area.
Well, we have one of those that didn't like having agents on site, but now they're willing to discuss compensation, but they still don't want the agent on site. So they say, you're not allowed here except for contract and closing. And so my argument back is, but my job is to remind them of why they want a pre-drywall inspection, and it is to attend when they come to the builder walkthrough, so that they might not know what to ask, but my granddaddy was a builder. I know what to ask. And a builder that doesn't want me there when I want to ask questions, as a builder, I have alarm bells about because they should welcome questions.
Yep.
I welcome
100%.
questions because if I don't know, buddy, I'm gonna go find out and then I won't forget again.
Yeah. Actually today, I just signed this morning before coming into the office. We just signed a builder on the north side up in Douglasville, and he is family oriented. He is like, anytime the buyers need anything, if they come in and they're not happy, I want you to call me right away. I'm on site. I'm here. I mean, I was just like, oh, this is so refreshing, because my last builder, not like that at all. He was more like, I don't want you around for anything. If they call and ask any questions or they want something, always say no until they've pushed you so far you have to get me involved. Like, like, it's your
I know, I mean, that's a sales attitude right there. Let's get to know.
Yeah, like, just start with no. Well, that's idiotic. But
Have
anyways,
to be cool with the people spending all their money on your house. Let's be cool.
right. Ugh.
That in Pulp Fiction, be cool, honey buddy, be cool. So what were we supposed to talk about? Because I took you down 47 different rabbit holes. Do you have a story you plan to tell us today? Let me look at my requirements here.
I think it's a flip. It was about the criminal contractor.
Oh, it was the criminal contractor.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Oh.
I want James to tell you more about getting that house and the neighbor across the street. Come on,
Oh, yeah.
James. Share.
Yeah. Well, this was even after the seller. She was nice. She loved Shannon because they got Shannon involved on it. But yeah, the lady across the street that actually might be trying to buy that property because she's renting from her. But she said she was a witch and put a hex on the guy that owned the home several years ago. So, and because, well, here's the start. When I first went to look at it, she goes, I don't know if there's squatters in there or not. So I'm like, well, I'm not going in there. I'm going to call the sheriff's department. So I had the sheriff's department beat me out there. He drives up and he looks at it and he says, oh, we've been here a bunch. He said over the years, he says for drugs use, just parties. And he said when they came there, it was mostly just young boys and the old man was the party. So yeah, let your mind go. So,
You can fill in the blanks for all of that.
so but the
Not
house
good.
the house had been empty for what 2-3 years, I think. Come find out, talking with the lawyer, we never, and her son had was given the property by this man for $1, given several properties. So, but found I mean he was like 30 something years old, and the man that gave it to him 65. We finally, once we got under contract, the attorney says, he asked the young man, he goes, what is your relationship with him? And he goes, oh, he's my husband. So they were undoubtedly married. And the other guy was in New Orleans or somewhere in Louisiana. And he says, well, I'm not ever coming back to Georgia, which kind of tells me he might had something going on.
He could not come back to Georgia.
So, but so yeah, it was a mess, and all, and the house was a mess too. But
I would imagine so. It seems like that home maintenance was probably the least of their concerns.
oh yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
We had, I think on that one, 12 yard roll offs to empty it.
Yeah,
12?
12.
That's like $15,000.
It's they're like 480 a pop.
That's a lot of junk in one house.
Yeah.
And now we didn't tell her to start. So this county was still rural Georgia. They didn't start making any policies on what the property should be, or keep any records prior to 2007.
Oh,
So this house was built in 88. So when we actually closed the first time, mark that.
Yeah.
We went down to the property and they owned the lot next to it. And all of a sudden we saw where they had done a survey and it was going to go across the pool patio. So immediately we're like, uh-oh, we got a encroachment.
yeah.
Shannon, knowing what she does, she calls the attorney right quick. She said, and she goes, has this funded? He goes, no. She said, cancel it. Cancel this deal. So we did. And So once we found out, we got more information, but we then closed on the property 30 days later. So, so
Oh
went
my
ahead and
God.
bought it.
Yeah.
So, but it was basically
It
because
was,
county didn't keep record, and the line is actually, oh gosh, not even 10 foot from the house.
mhm.
So,
It was a mess. It was one of those where we should have probably ran when we heard the witch across the street put a hex on the property.
I was just gonna say, I mean, there were some warning signs early on. And then the sheriff being, yeah, I know that house, no problem. Like, okay, maybe, but hey, in real estate, we are nothing if not endlessly optimistic.
Exactly.
What it could be.
and two, Shannon it's a lake house, so
Uh-huh.
it's on a lake, so that's where Shannon's like, I want to do this.
So is that why the property line was only 10 feet from the house because they were that close to the lake? Or
Well, it's yeah, no, it was just they're thin. Each property
They're
is
really
is
skinny.
narrow, very narrow. So
Mhm.
so if you're in the public, this is why we ask you to get a survey, is so that you don't have to call the attorney's office and say, stop, 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 stop. We would like you to know this before the last minute if the property
Yes.
line goes across the pool deck.
right.
Yes. And this was one of those where honestly, like I took a lot of blame for it, but like personally, like I blame myself because here I had James that was fairly new and another guy who was even newer. And I'm like, yeah, you guys got it. Just go ahead, get everything wrapped up. I'll be there to sign. I'll close on it. No problem. I'm like, y'all didn't get a survey? Taught you nothing? Apparently I taught them nothing because I didn't know to get a survey.
But you don't know if they didn't get hexed. They could have been hexed early, so it
Yeah.
wasn't even on them. The witch was still active.
Right.
100%. And that's what we're just going to blame it all on.
I would.
It's the witch
because
across the
the
street.
Bible tells us to stay away from witches and sorcery and witchcraft, and so I believe the Bible, and we
Yep.
should always listen. So, Shannon and James, if anybody wants to reach your firm and find out more about investing, working with you, how you could be their agent, what do you know about building, all the different pieces that you're involved in, what is the best way for them to reach your amazing office?
James, go.
What, you want to send it to me?
Yes.
I guess my email.
Unless you don't want any business, in which case we'll
Yeah.
just
Oh no.
and hello.
No,
Nope,
it's
give
just,
them your email, your handle on social, your phone number.
yeah. It's James, just my name, at Shannon, SHANNON, sales, SELLS, team, TEAM.com. So phone number, mine is 678-435-6285. And you can call that one. That's my work phone. Shannon says I'm a drug dealer because I have two cell phones. So I do have a personal cell phone and a work cell phone.
Politician, they got burner phones too. I think you should be more hip and call it a burner phone, James. But
Yeah, I agree. We have one of those now.
listeners and viewers, I've got all the social contacts and all the contact information in the show notes for this episode. So you can reach out at any time, follow and ask questions of Shannon and James. And thank you guys for showing us what it looks like to have a healthy team relationship and what it looks like to do creative things together in real estate. It's such an honor to have both of you on the show today.
Yeah.
It was
Thank
great
you.
hanging out.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, guys, say something nice about them in the comments. Make sure you tag Austin over at New River Builders because he has no idea he's gotten talked about in this episode. So
He's getting a phone
with all
call.
of that. And hit the bell to subscribe. Come back and visit us next time, and we'll see you. By the way, friends, don't miss my brand new coaching program at answers.real estate, where you can have access to Leigh Brown, submit your questions, have them answered, meet like-minded professionals, have an entire library to help you build your business no matter what happens in the market. Get signed up today. I promise you'll be glad you did. So if you found value in this episode, please like and subscribe to this channel, turn on the bell, and catch another amazing episode by clicking above. Crazy Shit in Real Estate is also available on all of your normal podcast apps. So if that's where you like to hang out, go find me, click subscribe, and most importantly, leave me a review that says you think I'm awesome, my guests are awesome, or this content is just exactly what you were looking for. And then, by the way, if there's something you need, you want to learn about something, you can comment below anytime. You can also send me a direct message if you need to remain anonymous. No judgment. But anyway, I'll only judge if you forget to subscribe and click. I'll see you next time.